Have you ever felt an inexplicable unease in someone's presence, a gut feeling telling you something was off, yet you couldn't quite put your finger on it? It's a universal experience, one that often leaves us doubting our instincts, only to realize too late that the signs were there all along. Many of us have endured pain, betrayal, or manipulation because we missed or ignored the subtle cues of harmful intentions. These moments don't just shake our trust in others, they make us question ourselves. But what if you could sharpen your perception and navigate these situations with wisdom and clarity? This isn't about judging others. It's about protecting your peace and fostering relationships rooted in trust and authenticity. Drawing from the timeless insights of Stoic philosophy, this video will reveal 5 unmistakable signs of malicious individuals. By understanding these behaviors, you'll learn to safeguard your energy, uphold your values, and cultivate healthier connections. Are you ready to explore the path to self-awareness and empowerment? Let's dive into the wisdom of the Stoics and uncover how to recognize and respond to the red flags that could disrupt your peace and personal growth. 1. Inner disharmony. Actions don't match words. In the dance of human interactions, there's perhaps no discordant note as jarring as someone whose actions fail to align with their words. Picture this: a colleague who extols the virtues of teamwork, speaking with eloquence about shared effort and collective goals. They might even paint themselves as the glue holding the team together. But when the storm of adversity looms, this person vanishes like a shadow at dawn, shirking responsibilities and leaving others to bear the burden. This inconsistency between words and deeds is not merely a quirk. It's a window into their inner world, revealing a profound disharmony rooted in selfishness and a lack of self-control. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, warned us against the futility of debating what makes a good person. Instead, he urged, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Meditations, Book 10:16. This timeless wisdom reminds us that integrity is not a concept to be debated. It's a practice to be lived. When someone consistently fails to embody the values they profess, it's not just an ethical shortcoming, it's a betrayal of their character and a red flag that demands attention. At its core, this mismatch between speech and action stems from a fractured internal state. A person who promises kindness but acts with cruelty, who speaks of honesty yet lives in deceit, demonstrates that they are not at peace within themselves. As the Stoics often emphasized, virtue is the alignment of one's inner principles with outward behavior. Those who fail in this alignment are guided not by reason, but by fleeting impulses and selfish desires. Such people prioritize their immediate interests over the trust and well-being of others, using words as tools of manipulation rather than expressions of truth. Let us reflect on the profound implications of this inner disharmony. It is not merely a personal failing, but a source of harm to everyone it touches. In professional settings, such duplicity erodes trust, destabilizes teamwork, and creates a culture of cynicism. In personal relationships, it sows confusion and pain, as promises are made only to be broken, leaving others disillusioned and vulnerable. How can we navigate such encounters without losing our own sense of integrity? The Stoics provide a roadmap for such challenges. First, cultivate a habit of observation. Do not be swayed by honeyed words or lofty promises. Watch how a person acts, especially under pressure, for that is when their true nature emerges. As Epictetus taught, circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. Pay attention to whether their deeds affirm their words or betray them. This clarity of perception will serve as your compass in discerning the trustworthy from the treacherous. Next, lead by example. Be the embodiment of integrity that you seek in others. This is not merely a moral aspiration, but a practical defense. When your actions consistently align with your principles, you create an environment where duplicity cannot thrive. Just as light dispels darkness, authenticity exposes and diminishes the power of deceit. Finally, establish boundaries. If someone's inner disharmony begins to affect your own peace and productivity, it is essential to protect yourself. Confront the inconsistency not with anger or judgment, but with calm and clarity. For instance, when a coworker avoids responsibility despite preaching teamwork, address the situation with evidence. You mentioned how important teamwork is to you, yet I noticed you didn't participate in solving this issue. Can we align on expectations moving forward? Such directness cuts through pretense and forces accountability. It is tempting, in moments of betrayal, to dwell on the actions of others and question their motives. But the Stoics remind us to focus on what is within our control. When faced with a person whose actions don't match their words, resist the urge to ruminate on their flaws. Instead, turn inward and ask yourself, am I being the person I aspire to be? Are my words and actions in harmony? This introspection is not only a shield against external negativity, but also a powerful tool for personal growth. Imagine a world where actions consistently mirrored intentions, where promises were kept and trust was unshaken. While you cannot single-handedly create this ideal, you can take the first step by embodying its principles. By aligning your own actions with your values, you not only inspire others, but also fortify your ability to recognize and respond to those who lack such integrity. The path of the Stoic is not about avoiding difficult people, but about meeting them with wisdom and resilience. The next time you encounter someone whose words ring hollow, remember that their inconsistency is a reflection of their own turmoil, not a measure of your worth. Hold fast to your principles, observe their actions without judgment, and let your own life be the answer to Marcus Aurelius's timeless call, be one. 2. The urge to control, imposing and manipulative behavior. Having understood how inner disharmony manifests through words and actions, let us now step into another shadowy realm of human interaction. Control disguised as care. If inconsistency reveals a person's internal chaos, the urge to control exposes their fear, a fear so deep that it drives them to bend others to their will, often under the guise of love, protection, or responsibility. Consider this familiar scenario: a partner who insists on deciding what their significant other wears, who they meet, or how they spend their time. They argue that their actions stem from love, claiming, "I just want the best for you." But beneath the surface, this behavior isn't about care, it's about domination. It is the need to dictate someone else's choices to ease their own insecurities, an act that suffocates autonomy and erodes trust. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, posed a poignant question that resonates through the ages. Can you no longer see a road to freedom? It's right in front of you. You need only turn over your wrists. Letters to Lucilius, letter 122. These words remind us that freedom is always within our grasp, provided we recognize the chains, both visible and invisible, that bind us. The urge to control, whether imposed upon us or enacted by us, represents a fundamental misunderstanding of freedom and its beauty. True care does not shackle, it liberates. True love does not dictate, it nurtures. To understand the roots of control, we must recognize its origins in fear and vulnerability. People who seek to dominate others often do so because they feel powerless in their own lives. Their need to control stems from a desire to create certainty in an uncertain world. But instead of finding strength within, they impose restrictions on others, mistaking dominance for stability. This behavior, though seemingly directed outward, is a reflection of their inner turmoil. Take a moment to reflect on how this dynamic might play out in your own life. Perhaps you've encountered a manager who micromanages every aspect of a project, unwilling to trust their team's judgment. Or maybe you've had a friend who insists on choosing where to go and what to do, masking their rigidity as helpfulness. While these actions may seem benign at first, they can quickly become oppressive, creating an environment of resentment and stifled growth. What then can we learn from the Stoics about handling such situations? First, we must recognize control for what it is, a barrier to freedom. When someone attempts to impose their will on you, it is not an act of love, but an act of fear. By understanding this, you can approach the situation with clarity and compassion rather than anger or defiance. Second, remember that autonomy is a cornerstone of human dignity. Just as you have the right to make your own choices, so too does everyone else. Respecting personal freedom, both yours and others, is an act of courage and wisdom. It requires you to trust in the resilience of those around you and to let go of the illusion that you can or should control their paths. The Stoics also teach us the importance of setting boundaries, a practice as essential as it is challenging. Boundaries are not walls to isolate ourselves from others, but lines that define the respect and freedom we require to thrive. Imagine confronting a controlling partner with calm but firm resolve. I appreciate your concern, but I need the freedom to make my own decisions. Let's find a way to support each other without imposing limits. This approach is not confrontational, it is constructive. It opens the door to dialogue while reaffirming your independence. However, setting boundaries is only half the equation. Maintaining them requires consistency and courage. There will be moments when those who seek control test your resolve, attempting to guilt you into compliance. In these times, draw strength from Seneca's wisdom. Remind yourself that freedom is not a luxury but a necessity, one that you must protect with unwavering commitment. Furthermore, let us reflect on our own tendencies. Control is not merely an external force, it is a temptation that resides within all of us. How often do we try to dictate the outcomes of situations or the behaviors of others, believing that we know what's best? The Stoic path invites us to release this need for dominance, to trust in the natural order of things, and to focus instead on what lies within our control, our own thoughts, actions, and choices. As you navigate relationships, be they personal, professional, or familial, remember that control and care are not the same. While control seeks to bind, care seeks to uplift. While control demands compliance, care fosters trust. By embracing this distinction, you can cultivate relationships rooted in mutual respect and genuine connection. To close, let us return to Seneca's challenge. The road to freedom is always before us, but it requires the courage to step onto it. Whether you are facing a controlling partner, an overbearing boss, or even your own internal struggles with the urge to dominate, the path forward is clear. Respect autonomy, set firm boundaries, and practice the liberating power of trust. By doing so, you not only free yourself, but also inspire others to walk their own paths with dignity and strength. 3. The web of lies, habitual deception. Control and manipulation often pave the way for deeper forms of dishonesty, as the same fear that drives one to impose their will on others also compels them to twist reality to fit their narrative. When the urge to dominate fails to secure the desired outcome, many resort to deception, spinning a web of lies to achieve their goals or shield themselves from accountability. It is here, in this tangled web, that we confront another defining characteristic of harmful individuals: their habitual reliance on falsehoods. While control erodes autonomy, deceit corrodes trust, the very foundation of meaningful relationships and communities. Imagine, for instance, an employee who fabricates their achievements to secure a promotion. At first, their fabricated narrative may seem convincing, even inspiring. But like any structure built on a weak foundation, the truth eventually emerges, and their inability to deliver on false promises lays bare their dishonesty. The consequences ripple outward, affecting not only their own credibility, but also the trust and morale of their team. Deception, no matter how carefully constructed, is inherently unstable. It may offer a fleeting sense of security or advantage, but it is always destined to collapse under the weight of reality. Epictetus captures this principle with striking clarity. It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments concerning them. Lies are, at their core, a distortion of judgment, an attempt to reshape events to align with one's desires rather than accepting them as they are. A liar's judgment is clouded by fear and self-interest, leading them to prioritize short-term gains over long-term stability. Yet, as the Stoics remind us, reality cannot be permanently distorted. Truth, like nature, is indifferent to our manipulations. It will eventually assert itself, often with consequences far harsher than those the liar sought to avoid. The damage caused by deception extends far beyond the liar themselves. Consider how betrayal poisons relationships. When someone you trust lies to you, the harm is not limited to the specific falsehood. It creates a lingering doubt that undermines the entire relationship. If they lied about this, you wonder, what else have they concealed? Such doubt sows seeds of suspicion and resentment, making genuine connection almost impossible. Similarly, in professional settings, habitual deception fosters a culture of distrust, where colleagues and leaders become wary of one another's intentions. The resulting tension and insecurity hinder collaboration, creativity, and growth. But why do people lie? At its root, deception is often a response to fear. Fear of failure, rejection, or inadequacy. A person who lies habitually may feel that the truth will expose their vulnerabilities or cost them opportunities. They weave their web of lies not out of malice, but out of a desperate attempt to control how others perceive them. Ironically, this effort to protect themselves only deepens their isolation and insecurity. Lies, rather than serving as a shield, become a trap, binding the liar to a cycle of dishonesty and mistrust. How then should we respond when confronted with deceit? The Stoics offer a path grounded in rationality and self-control. First, approach the situation with calmness. Reacting with anger or indignation only clouds your judgment and escalates the conflict. Instead, examine the evidence objectively and address the falsehood directly, but without hostility. For example, if a colleague has misrepresented their contributions to a project, calmly present the facts. I noticed there's been some confusion about who completed this task. Let's clarify so we can move forward. This approach not only exposes the lie, but also sets a tone of professionalism and rationality, reducing the likelihood of further conflict. Equally important is the practice of transparency in your own life. Marcus Aurelius wisely advised, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." By embodying honesty in your actions and words, you establish a standard that discourages deceit in others. This does not mean you will never encounter liars, but it does ensure that your conscience remains clear and your relationships are rooted in authenticity. Moreover, Your commitment to truth serves as a powerful example, inspiring others to value integrity over expediency. At the same time, navigating a world where deception is commonplace requires discernment. Lies are not limited to personal interactions. They are pervasive in broader social and institutional contexts. Whether it's misinformation in the media or the exaggerations of politicians, we are constantly exposed to distortions of reality. To counter this, the Stoics encourage us to question what we hear and seek multiple perspectives before forming judgments. This habit of critical thinking not only protects us from being deceived, but also strengthens our ability to confront falsehoods with confidence and clarity. Finally, we must turn inward and examine our own relationship with truth. Have we ever bent the truth to avoid embarrassment or gain an advantage? If so, what fears drove us to do so, and how can we address them without resorting to dishonesty? By reflecting on these questions, we cultivate a deeper awareness of our values and a stronger commitment to living in alignment with them. Lies may seem like an easy escape, but they are, in truth, a prison, one that ensnares both the deceiver and the deceived. As we encounter deception in others or recognize its temptation within ourselves, let us remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Meet falsehood with calm, confront it with evidence, and embody the integrity you wish to see in the world. Only then can we untangle ourselves from the web of lies and walk the path of truth, trust, and freedom. 4. Lack of empathy. Emotional disconnect. Deception often leads to another troubling trait, a lack of empathy. Those who habitually lie or manipulate others may do so because they are disconnected from the emotional impact of their actions. This emotional disconnect, the inability or unwillingness to consider the feelings and needs of others, defines the fourth sign of harmful individuals. At its core, a lack of empathy signals a self-centered perspective where personal interests are prioritized above all else, regardless of the consequences for others. Imagine a manager who coldly refuses an employee's request for leave to care for a sick family member. The rationale might seem logical, meeting deadlines or ensuring productivity, but beneath this veneer lies a troubling disregard for the employee's humanity. This decision not only causes immediate distress, but also erodes trust, morale, and loyalty. When individuals in positions of power dismiss the emotions and struggles of those around them, they create environments that breed resentment and toxicity, stifling both individual well-being and collective progress. Seneca's wisdom provides a lens through which to understand this dynamic. It is not what you endure that matters, but how you endure it. Letters to Lucilius, Letter 67. Empathy is not merely about acknowledging someone's pain. It is about choosing to respond to that pain with understanding and care. When we lack empathy, we fail to meet the challenges of human interaction with the dignity and grace that Stoicism champions. Instead, we retreat into a narrow focus on our own desires, blind to the suffering we may cause. The absence of empathy is often rooted in a misguided view of strength. To some, showing compassion is perceived as a weakness, a distraction from achieving goals or maintaining authority. Yet the Stoics remind us that true strength lies in balancing reason with humanity. A person who disregards the emotions of others may achieve short-term objectives, but they do so at the cost of long-term relationships and respect. Empathy, far from being a liability, is an essential component of rational leadership and meaningful connection. In professional contexts, the damage caused by a lack of empathy is particularly stark. A leader who prioritizes results over people may see temporary gains, but these come with hidden costs. Overworked employees, unacknowledged personal struggles, and a culture of emotional detachment inevitably lead to burnout and high turnover. Trust, once lost, is difficult to rebuild, and a workforce that feels undervalued is unlikely to perform at its best. Conversely, leaders who approach challenges with empathy not only foster loyalty and collaboration, but also inspire their teams to achieve more than they thought possible. The impact of emotional disconnect extends beyond the workplace. In personal relationships, a lack of empathy creates distance and misunderstanding. Imagine a friend who listens to your struggles only to dismiss them or turn the conversation back to their own concerns. Over time, such interactions leave you feeling unseen and unheard, eroding the bond you once shared. Without empathy, relationships become one-sided, transactional, and ultimately unsustainable. How then can we cultivate empathy, even when faced with challenging interactions? The Stoics offer a practical approach. First, strive to see situations from the other person's perspective. This does not mean abandoning your own needs or compromising your values, but rather expanding your view to include theirs. Ask yourself, what might this person be feeling? What fears or struggles could be driving their actions? By approaching others with curiosity rather than judgment, you open the door to understanding and connection. Next, balance logic with compassion. While Stoicism emphasizes rationality, it does not advocate for cold detachment. Instead, it teaches us to integrate reason with kindness. For example, when dealing with a difficult coworker, rather than reacting with frustration, consider how you can address the issue constructively. Perhaps their behavior stems from stress or insecurity. A compassionate response, such as offering support or feedback, can transform a potential conflict into an opportunity for growth. It is also essential to practice patience, especially when empathy does not come easily. In moments of frustration or disagreement, take a step back and breathe. Seneca reminds us that endurance is not about suppressing emotions, but about choosing how we respond to them. By cultivating patience, you give yourself the space to act with intention rather than impulsivity, allowing empathy to guide your decisions. Finally, lead by example. Just as a lack of empathy creates a ripple effect of negativity, practicing empathy inspires others to do the same. In every interaction, strive to be a source of understanding and support. When faced with someone who disregards your feelings or needs, respond not with bitterness, but with the strength of your own compassion. This does not mean tolerating harmful behavior, but rather refusing to let it diminish your humanity. Empathy is not always easy, especially in a world that often rewards self-interest. But as the Stoics teach us, the challenges we face are opportunities to strengthen our character. By choosing empathy, even in the face of emotional disconnect, we affirm our commitment to living virtuously and building connections that uplift rather than harm. Let this principle guide you, as it guided Seneca and so many others before. It is not what we endure that defines us, but how we choose to endure it, with patience, understanding, and an unwavering respect for the shared humanity of all. 5. Excessive self-love, narcissistic tendencies. If a lack of empathy reveals emotional detachment, excessive self-love represents the pinnacle of selfishness, a distorted mirror in which malicious individuals see only themselves. Such people center everything around their own interests, often dismissing or diminishing the feelings and needs of others. They do not nurture relationships, but exploit them as platforms to elevate their egos. This is the fifth and final sign: excessive self-love, narcissistic tendencies. Imagine a friend who constantly brags about their achievements, luxurious vacations, or career advancements. At first, their stories may seem inspiring or admirable, but over time, you notice a pattern. Their conversations never leave room for you. When you try to share a personal struggle, they quickly redirect the focus back to themselves or, worse, belittle your experiences to make their own appear grander. These interactions are not about mutual exchange, but rather a subtle competition where they must always come out on top. Epictetus captured the essence of true integrity with his advice: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Discourses, Book 4, Chapter 8. His words remind us that authentic values are not proclaimed but demonstrated through actions. However, narcissists often fail to grasp this principle. They are more concerned with appearances than substance, seeking external validation to reinforce their inflated self-image. For them, the admiration of others is not a reflection of genuine worth, but a fleeting escape from their underlying insecurity. Narcissism distorts relationships in profound ways. A person consumed by excessive self-love cannot build genuine connections because they view others as tools for self-aggrandizement rather than as equals with their own needs and emotions. Trust, empathy, and mutual respect, the cornerstones of healthy relationships, are overshadowed by their relentless focus on personal gain. Over time, relationships with narcissists become one-sided and draining, leaving those around them feeling undervalued and unseen. How can we navigate interactions with such individuals without falling into their cycle of selfishness and manipulation? The first step is to anchor yourself in humility and self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." Rather than letting their egotism influence you, focus on embodying the virtues you admire: kindness, patience, and authenticity. By grounding yourself in these principles, you can remain unaffected by their self-centered behavior. Another critical strategy is to establish clear boundaries. Narcissistic individuals may not recognize the emotional toll they impose on others, but that does not mean you must tolerate it. If a friend or colleague consistently monopolizes conversations or dismisses your concerns, address the issue calmly but firmly. For instance, you might say, "I appreciate hearing about your successes, but I also value sharing my thoughts and experiences. Can we balance our conversations more?" Such an approach not only asserts your own worth, but also encourages healthier interactions. It is also essential to understand the roots of narcissistic tendencies. Excessive self-love often masks deep-seated insecurities. Narcissists build a facade of confidence to shield themselves from feelings of inadequacy or rejection. While this does not excuse their behavior, it can help you approach them with compassion rather than resentment. Recognizing that their actions stem from fear rather than malice allows you to respond thoughtfully without letting their negativity affect your peace of mind. Moreover, the antidote to narcissism lies in practicing gratitude and respect for the individuality of others. As Epictetus suggested, embodying your values is more powerful than proclaiming them. In your interactions, demonstrate humility by acknowledging the contributions and emotions of those around you. Celebrate their successes, listen to their struggles, and treat their perspectives with the same respect you wish to receive. This not only strengthens your relationships, but also sets an example for others to follow. Narcissism often isolates individuals within their own egos, leaving them disconnected from the collective well-being of those around them. By prioritizing personal gain over mutual growth, they limit their potential for meaningful relationships and self-development. Yet, as Stoicism teaches, the challenges we face in dealing with such individuals are opportunities to refine our own character. Through humility, patience, and intentional action, we can rise above their selfishness and choose a path of integrity. Ultimately, Excessive self-love distorts relationships and undermines the harmony necessary for personal and collective flourishing. Recognizing and addressing this sign allows us to protect ourselves while fostering more balanced and fulfilling connections. And now, I leave you with a question to reflect upon. What other signs might indicate that we are dealing with a malicious or harmful person? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Outro. Don't get fooled. 5 signs you're dealing with an evil person. Stoicism. The timeless wisdom of the ancient Stoic philosophers continues to guide us through the complexities of modern life. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus gifted us a profound understanding of human nature, offering practical tools to recognize and respond to negativity with clarity and purpose. Their teachings remain a beacon, helping us navigate relationships and challenges with integrity and inner peace. In this video, we explored 5 critical signs of malicious individuals: inner disharmony, the urge to control, habitual deception, lack of empathy, and excessive self-love. Each sign not only reveals the harm that such behavior causes, but also underscores the importance of cultivating virtues like honesty, empathy, and humility in our own lives. By understanding and applying these insights, we protect ourselves, nurture healthier relationships, and strengthen our ability to act with wisdom and resilience. If you found value in these lessons, we invite you to join our growing community of Stoic learners. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a chance to deepen your understanding of Stoic philosophy. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What other signs do you think reveal harmful behavior? Share your insights in the comments below. Remember, true strength lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. Let's continue this journey together, learning from Stoicism to build a life of strength, peace, and purpose. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye for now.